I memorized information, I answered questions, and proved what I knew. Then I went home and asked AI the same questions and got a better explanation, instantly, for free, on my phone. It's amazing, super convenient, but also a little scary. Because if getting answers has become this easy, what exactly are we students supposed to be learning? Although I don't think the problem is AI, I think the real question is, what skills still matter in a world where answers are everywhere? And this matters to me because I actually use AI a lot. And as a student, I don't think we should ignore it. That would be like ignoring calculators or the internet. The real goal is to learn how to use it without letting it do our thinking for us. And I think that starts with two things. First, learn how to turn information into real understanding. And second, learning how to turn that understanding into action. I would like to share with you how I've been doing this. Last month, we had a project in school about space and needed to do a lot of research. So I started prompting Gemini AI to get detailed explanations. And honestly, I'm getting really good answers. Clear, organized, and detailed. It made sense when I read it, so I thought, perfect. I got it. But then I had to write about it. And that's when I realized I didn't quite get it. Just yet. You see, reading perfectly generated AI answers can make us think we understand something, when really, we haven't actually earned that understanding yet. We didn't have to search through different sources, figure out what mattered and what didn't, and organize the ideas in our own minds. And that's the problem. Because convenience can give us information, but effort is what turns that information into knowledge. So now, I do something different. After I read the answers and do my research, I close the tab. Yes, on purpose. And then I will write down what I understood in my own words. And if I missed something, I would go back to do it again. And again. And if I really wanted to test myself, I'll explain it to a friend. Because if I cannot explain it, I probably do not understand it yet. And that changed how I learn. Because now, I'm not just collecting answers. I'm actually building understanding. But understanding is only the first part. The second part is to learn what to do with it. Which is my favorite part. Because I've always enjoyed making things, coding games, building projects, and figuring out how things work. In design technology class, one of our projects was to build a diorama, inspired by a book I read titled Gold Mountain. I decided to go a little overboard and chose to create a historical train scene with 3D printed pieces and a real light that was supposed to turn on. At least, that was the plan. I read about how the circuits work. Positive here, negative there. Connect the wires. Very easy. Except it wasn't. Because when I connected everything and did everything I was supposed to, at least what ChatGPT told me I was supposed to, the light did not turn on. So I spent the next half an hour stripping wires, reconnecting things, testing different combinations, and trying again. Until I got it right and the light finally turned on. I'll admit that was frustrating, but I see now it's necessary, because reading about the work is very different from actually making it work. And that changed how I learn. Then, 3 of my friends came over and asked me to help with their projects. And that became the real test, because now I had to explain it. And this time I could, because now I not only earned the knowledge, but owned it already. And that's the kind of learning that I think will help us, because the future does not belong to the person who can memorize the most facts and answer questions the fastest. Just as it didn't belong to the person who could calculate huge numbers in their head when calculators came along. The future belongs to the person who could adapt and thrive with AI. If I could leave you with 2 simple things. First, the next time AI gives you an answer that makes perfect sense, don't just move on. Ask yourself, can I explain this in my own words? If you can't, keep going back until you can. And second, don't just consume ideas. Make something, build something, and try something that might not work. Because the real world will not hand us perfect problems with perfect answers. It will give us messy situations where we need to turn information into real understanding and turn that understanding into action. So, to answer the question, what skills still matter in a world where answers are everywhere? I think the answer is this. The skills that matter are the ones that AI cannot do for us. The ability to question, to think, to adapt, and to explain what we understand. And to take ideas off the screen and turn them into something real. Thank you.